You're about to lose something precious. It's not your job, your money, or even your success. It's something far more valuable. Your relationships. You know why most relationships fall apart? It's not because of lies or betrayal. It's because people ignore the simple truth. They don't know how to truly listen. By the end of this video, your mindset about relationships will shift forever. The way you approach those you care about, it'll never be the same. I need you to listen to me very carefully right now because what I'm about to say could change everything for you. The difference between success and failure in any relationship, whether it's your partner, your family, or your business, comes down to one thing: listening. I'm not talking about hearing. Hearing is passive. You hear the noise around you, but it doesn't register. Listening, on the other hand, is active. It's intentional. It's powerful. And it's the difference between understanding and misunderstanding, between building trust and breaking it, between winning and losing. Too many of us are hearing but not really listening. We're too busy thinking about what we want to say next. Too busy thinking about how we can respond. Too busy worrying about our own agenda that we forget the most important thing we can do. Give the other person our full attention and respect. Think about the times when someone just really listened to you, when they were fully present, when you could tell they genuinely cared about what you were saying. You felt understood, you felt heard, and that built a connection that could never have been forged with surface-level conversations. This is not just a nice to have, it's essential. You see, listening goes beyond just the words people speak. It's about hearing the emotions, the underlying messages, and the unspoken truths behind those words. This is where the real connection happens. And the best part? Listening isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. When you truly listen, you stop interrupting, you stop judging, and you stop assuming. Instead, you open up to the person in front of you and absorb their words. You let them know that what they say matters. Now think about someone like Oprah Winfrey. She didn't become the media mogul and philanthropist we know today by giving surface-level attention. She became one of the most influential women in the world by listening. She mastered the art of asking the right questions and giving her guests a space to express themselves fully. She listened, and in doing so, she built trust and connection with some of the most influential figures on the planet. But it wasn't just about getting the answers. It was about connecting on a deeper level. When people feel heard, they feel valued. And when people feel valued, they open up to you. That's where relationships are built. Psychologically, when you don't listen, you create barriers. You communicate that you're not interested in the other person's thoughts, feelings, or ideas. That creates a sense of disconnection. People feel that. They feel when you're distracted. They feel when you're not fully engaged. And when you stop listening, you stop learning. You stop growing. You start missing out on critical information. Not just about the person in front of you, but about yourself as well. The key to growth, both personally and professionally, lies in the conversations we have. Those conversations thrive when we listen, when we engage, when we open ourselves to others. There's power in silence too. The next time someone speaks to you, try this. Pause for just a second before responding. Let the words sink in. Reflect on what was sank in. Reflect on what was said and then respond. You'd be amazed at how much more meaningful your conversations become when you take the time to digest. To really listen instead of rushing to respond. I'll tell you a personal story. Early in my journey, I used to be so focused on what I had to say, on what I needed to do next, that I forgot to listen. I was moving so fast, so driven by my own agenda, that I lost track of what mattered most, the people around me. But one day, I realized that the greatest power I had in my relationships, my business, and my life was my ability to listen. I made a choice. I decided to show up with intention, with attention. And from that moment on, everything changed. My relationships deepened. My business connections strengthened. I started winning, not by talking more, but by listening better. So here's the question. What are you missing by not listening? How many opportunities, how many connections, how many key insights are you letting slip by because you're not giving people the full attention they deserve? Stop hearing. Start listening. Because when you listen, you show respect. You build trust. You build the connections that lead to success. And trust me, that's the key to everything. Let me tell you something real. You can't change the world if you don't understand the people in it. You can't lead effectively if you don't know where someone else is coming from. You can't connect, you can't build relationships, and you certainly can't inspire others to move with you if you don't have empathy. And I'm not just talking about feeling sorry for someone. I'm talking about really walking in their shoes, understanding their pain, their struggle, and their story. Empathy is the key to unlocking everything you want in life, not just professionally, but personally too. Many times we see someone going through a rough patch, and we respond with judgment. We say things like, "Oh, why don't they just get over it? Or if I were them, I'd do this differently." But here's the truth. You don't know their journey. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know the weight they've been carrying. And until you understand that, you're never going to be able to help them or connect with them or connect with them. The power of empathy is realizing that every person has their own fight, and that fight is just as real as your own. Think about someone like Martin Luther King Jr. He didn't just speak about change. He didn't just demand equality. He understood the struggles of those around him. He understood the deep pain that came with segregation, discrimination, and oppression. And that empathy, that deep understanding of the human condition, is what made his words and actions so powerful. It's why people followed him. It's why people listened. He wasn't just leading them to a goal. He was leading them out of a collective struggle. And he did it by first walking in their shoes. Psychologically, empathy is a game changer. When you truly understand someone else's feelings and perspective, you create a bond. You make them feel seen, heard, and valued. And when people feel valued, they're more likely to trust you. They're more likely to open up to you. They're more likely to work with you. But if you dismiss their feelings, if you dismiss their pain, if you're not willing to listen to their struggles, you push them away. Empathy isn't just about being kind. It's about deeply connecting with the experiences of others, even when you don't share those experiences yourself. Let me give you a personal example. Early in my career, I was all about me. I was focused on my success, my goals, and my ambition. I wasn't concerned with how others were feeling. I didn't care about their struggles. But it wasn't until I started connecting with people, really hearing their stories and understanding what they were going through, that my impact grew. I started seeing people not as obstacles, not as competitors, but as human beings with their own hopes, fears, and dreams. And when I started seeing them through that lens, when I started practicing true empathy, I started building relationships that made me stronger, not weaker. Think about someone like Bill Gates. He didn't just become the richest man in the world because of his intellect or innovation alone. He became successful because he understood people. He understood the importance of collaboration. He built his empire by seeing the value in those around him, by recognizing the struggles and challenges they faced, and by working with them to solve problems. He didn't build Microsoft in isolation. He built it with empathy, with a focus on how to make people's lives better through technology. That focus is what set him apart. Now I want you to think about the people in your life. Are you really listening to them? Are you really trying to understand what they're going through? Or are you too busy focusing on your own agenda? Next time someone shares something with you, don't just hear the words. Listen to the emotions behind them. Don't just think about how you can respond. Think about how you can help, how you can connect, how you can be there for them. When you lead with empathy, when you walk in their shoes, you create a bridge, a connection that allows you to move forward together. Empathy isn't optional. It's essential. Without it, you're not connecting with people. You're not leading them. You're not growing. But when you choose to understand, to listen, to feel with others, that's when real change happens. That's when you can make an impact. So stop looking at the world through the lens of your own struggles and start seeing it through the lens of empathy. Because when you truly understand people, you empower them, you lift them up, and you'll see that their success becomes your success. The power of empathy isn't just in what you do, it's in how you make others feel. You want to know what destroys relationships faster than anything else? Unspoken expectations, those silent, uncommunicated hopes and desires you have for the people around you. The things you think they should just know, without you having to say a word. And let me tell you something. That is the quickest way to frustration, resentment, and misunderstanding. See, unspoken expectations are like landmines waiting to go off. And when they do, tear everything apart. Here's the problem. When you don't communicate your needs, when you don't speak up about what you expect, You're setting yourself up for disappointment, giving the other person no chance to meet those expectations because they don't even know they exist. And you're setting yourself up for failure because you're expecting something without giving the other person the tools to succeed. Speaking in silence, and that silence breeds miscommunication. I want you to think about a time when you were in a relationship, or maybe even at work, and you were upset because someone didn't do something you expected them to do. How often did you find yourself thinking, how could they not know that? They should have known that I needed them to do this, or they should have known that this was important to me. But here's the truth. They didn't, because you didn't communicate it. Expectations are your responsibility. Your responsibility. If you don't speak up, you can't blame someone else for not fulfilling an expectation they never knew about. This is not just personal. This is business. How many times do people feel underappreciated or taken for granted at work because their boss or team didn't communicate clearly? Same applies to friendships, partnerships, or even family relationships. If you don't speak up and set clear expectations, you're not just setting the other person up for failure. You're setting yourself up for resentment. And that resentment can build until it's too late to fix things. It will rot the foundation of that relationship and make it harder for you to move forward. Let me share a story with you. Early in my career, I worked on several projects where I had high expectations for my team. I thought they should know what I wanted, how I wanted it done, and when it needed to be finished. I didn't communicate those expectations clearly, and guess what happened? The results were far below what I hoped for. Instead of stepping up and saying, hey, this is what I need from you, I allowed my frustration to fester. And what happened? It created distance, and it created problems. I was angry at them for not doing what I thought they should have known. But in reality, the problem was mine. I didn't communicate what I needed. Once I started speaking up, once I started being clear about my expectations, everything shifted. People started to respond. My team started performing better, and I became a better leader. Psychologically, unspoken expectations are dangerous because they're built on assumptions. You assume that someone knows what you need. You assume that people will understand your unspoken cues. And when they don't, it creates a disconnect. Your emotional energy gets drained by frustration, and the other person feels blindsided, confused, or inadequate. You end up with a situation where neither party is getting what they want, and both people feel resentful. The solution is simple, but not always easy. Speak up, communicate your needs, share your expectations. Stop letting people guess what you need from them. That's how you build stronger relationships. By being clear, by being open, by making sure that everyone is on the same page. Don't wait for the other person to read your mind. Don't sit in silence, hoping they'll figure it out. Tell them you have to speak up. So ask yourself, what expectations have I been keeping to myself? What have I been assuming people know, but haven't communicated? It's time to stop playing the guessing game. It's time to speak up, take responsibility for your needs, and build stronger, healthier relationships because of it. Speak up before resentment builds. Speak up before the landmines go off. Your relationships, your success, and your peace of mind depend on it. Don't let unspoken expectations destroy what you've worked so hard to build. Let me tell you something real right now. Comparison is a killer. It destroys everything. You might not see it, but every time you compare your relationship to someone else's, every time you think someone else has it better, you're poisoning what you've got. And it's subtle. It creeps in slowly like a slow burn, until one day you look up, and your connection with your partner, your friends, or your family is unrecognizable. You've been caught up in a game you never agreed to play, and it's tearing you apart from the inside out. The truth is, your relationship is not a contest. It's not a competition with someone else's. It's not about who does more, who loves harder, or who has the most picture-perfect life. Yet, too many people fall into this trap, especially in the age of social media. You see someone's highlight reel and think, why doesn't my partner do that for me? Or, why can't my relationship look like that? Well, let me remind you of something. Social media isn't real life. It's a carefully curated version of someone else's story. And if you let that dictate how you measure your worth, your relationship, or your success, you're setting yourself up for heartbreak and disappointment. Take a look at someone like Will and Jada Smith. For years, their relationship was scrutinized by the public, analyzed by the media. But what you don't see are the hard moments they faced, the sacrifices they made, and the private battles they fought. The truth is, no one knows what goes on behind closed doors. No one knows the struggles, the conversations, the healing that takes place when no one's watching. But what happens when we start comparing? We take everything personal. We start believing that their love story should be our love story. We think we should always be happy, always be romantic, and always be perfect. But that's not real. That's not real. That's the image that comparison builds, and it's damaging. Psychologically, when you start comparing, you create a narrative in your head that makes you feel less than. You're no longer focusing on what's good in your life. You're focused on what's better in someone else's. And that's when self-doubt creeps in. Am I doing enough? Am I enough? Am I enough? Am I enough? You start questioning your worth, and ultimately, you stop appreciating the uniqueness of your own connection. The love you share with your partner, your family, or your friends is your story, not theirs. When you measure your worth based on someone else's journey, you rob yourself of the joy and fulfillment that comes from your own experiences. The toxic mindset of comparison also leads to competition. Now, your partner isn't someone you're growing with. They become someone you're competing against. Instead of celebrating each other's strengths, you start keeping score. He bought me flowers. Now I have to do something bigger. She's doing more at work. Why can't I be doing that much? That's when you stop building together. You stop growing. You start trying to outdo each other. And when you do that, you lose sight of why you're together in the first place. It's not about who's winning or losing. It's about what you're building together. Let me share a personal experience. Early in my career, I was constantly comparing myself to others. I'd see other actors getting roles I wanted. I'd see them winning awards, and I'd think, why not me? And that comparison ate me alive. It wasn't until I realized that my journey wasn't their journey, that my path wasn't their path, that I was able to start focusing on my growth. I stopped measuring myself by other people's successes. I started focusing on my own progress, my own story, and that's when I started seeing real results. So, stop comparing. Stop measuring your love, your success, your life by someone else's standards. Your relationship isn't a contest, and neither is your life. What you have is unique, valuable, and worth cherishing. Your path, your connection, your journey is different from anyone else's. Don't let comparison poison what you've got. Focus on